We are very glad to have you all here. This is the first time that we've ever done really a joint venture like this with our bell choir plus another community bell ensemble, and that's very exciting. And we're just glad to have all of you here to witness it. So just a couple of little housekeeping things that I like to mention before we have Artist Series events at our church. First of all, don't forget to put these little things on silent. Please check those phones and make sure they're on, because inevitably what always happens is the phone always goes off in a quiet moment in a piece, never in a loud moment. It always goes off right during a section where there's a little break in between notes, and then all of a sudden you hear da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. So please put those phones on silent. If you need restrooms, they are out any of these doors basically, and down the hall to the left. And if you need water, you have to go all the way to the end of the hall and around the corner, and you'll see this new fancy water cooler thing that I don't quite fully understand how to work yet, but there are instructions, so good luck. We also have a couple of more Artist Series events coming up here at the church this month. This just happened to be a very full month of events. And so on Thursday, May 15th, we are hosting the Fletcher Community Chorus for their spring concert. That's Thursday the 15th at 7 p.m. here in our sanctuary. We hope you can come back for that. And then on Friday, May 30th, we will be hosting the renowned singer-songwriter who lives here in the Asheville area, David Wilcox. That is a ticketed event because he has a large following and fan base in this area. So that is a ticketed event. You can go to our website, fletcherumc.org, and click on the Artist Series tab and find the link to get tickets there for that event. So we've got a lot of great things coming up. I will mention one more thing. A couple of the people that I thought were going to be here to help me take up the love offering are not here. And so what I will mention is that there's going to be a brief little kind of like Q&A session right before It Is Well With My Soul. And we are going to be passing the plates to take up a love offering for these groups, because we're so grateful that they're both here, especially for the Charlotte group, for Queen City. We got to get them some gas in their tanks to get back to Charlotte. So no, but we'll be taking up a love offering, and so we'll be passing the plates. And I see Jim back there. Are you offering to help? Thank you. So that will be later in the program, but the plates are down here. So for those of you that can help with that, so there are four plates down here to pass. So once again, we're so glad to have all of you. This is going to be a wonderful afternoon of handbell music. And without further ado, please welcome the Blue Ridge Ringers and the Queen City Ringers. Once again, thank you all so much for being here. You're going to sort of hear a mixture of some combined pieces like you just heard, and also some featured pieces by each group here. And so the first piece you heard was an original composition by Arnold Sherman called Canticle. And you'll hear more about this later, but sadly in the past year or two, we've lost a lot of pioneers in the handbell world, and Arnold Sherman is one of them. And so it was fitting and appropriate to include one of Arnold's pieces on this concert. And so it's a really exciting year for the Blue Ridge Ringers because this is our 30th anniversary, and we have sort of put together a 30th anniversary concert that we've been doing this spring, and we're just doing a few selections from that concert today, but we are doing the full concert tomorrow at 3 at the Presbyterian Church in Brevard if you want to come see us again. So we've put together a 30th anniversary concert called Ring On, and what we decided to do was to kind of have like a greatest hits concert. It's like our Taylor Swift Eras tour, but for handbells. So, anyway, okay, sorry. So we pulled pieces that were favorites over the years, and so the next piece that you're going to hear has been our concert opener for our 30th anniversary concerts. This is Exuberance by Donna Butler, and appropriately, this piece is also 30 years old. It was an original composition that was written in 1995. And so it is celebrating its 30th birthday as well. We're very excited to be including it in our concerts. And so you will now hear the Blue Ridge Ringers perform Exuberance by Donna Butler. Thank you very much. So the next piece that you are going to hear will be directed by our Assistant Director, Brennan Shaffron. This is a medley of songs by a little rock and roll group from Liverpool that maybe you have heard of before called the Beatles. Anybody ever heard of that group before? They're kind of an obscure group, I think, you know. So yeah, a few of you, yeah, okay, great. So we're going to be doing a nice little medley here from the Beatles. It starts with Yesterday, nice little ballad, then goes into I Want to Hold Your Hand, which in a lot of ways was the song that really blew the Beatles up in America. You know, that famous broadcast on the Ed Sullivan Show. I was not alive to see that, but I hear it was fantastic. And then it closes with The Long and Winding Road, which was the Beatles' very last Billboard chart-topping song before they disbanded in 1970. And so you get to hear a mixture of Beatles music from all different eras here with this one. And so I now invite our Assistant Director, Brennan Shaffron, up to conduct the Beatles.
engagement so we can practice this a little bit. We're so appreciative of being able to come here and share the space together, time with you and with your joiners. We've had such a fun time today putting all this together. The next piece we're going to do is In the Shadow of Your Wings. It's an original composition by Karen Buckwalter. And Blaine mentioned that we had lost Arnold Sherman fairly recently. Several other composers, Cynthia Dobrinsky, Valerie Stevenson, and Tim Law. And, you know, it used to be that if you had a question about a piece of music, oh, just send them an email or send them a text, and they can answer your question for you. And, of course, as time is going on, we can't always do that with everybody. So we would like to play this piece in memory of them. And this piece was actually written in memory of Ms. Sunju Shin. She was from the handbell ringers of Japan. And back in the 80s, David Davidson from the US was in Japan for a festival. And the two of them started thinking, well, what if we create a festival that is international and brings all these people together? And so the International Handbell Symposium was created. And it is still going strong today. It was in Nashville a few years ago. It was in Japan last year, and it's going to be in Aberdeen, Scotland next year. So for those of you who are bell ringers, you might want to consider making that trip. You know, I'm just talking while they set up. In the Shadow of Your Wings. arranged by Benjamin Tucker. And Benjamin really seems to like jazzy pieces. We've done a couple of his, and they're very, very jazzy. So this is originally an African American Jubilee song and would traditionally be sung in a more slow, maybe almost mournful way, but Benjamin really jazzed it up for us. And, okay, so here's one last question. How many of you have never rung a bell? You never intend to ring a bell. You just don't, like, you'll come listen, and that's it? Okay, I got news for you. See, all these bells, they have to be put in cases, and they have to be built on towers and put on our trailer. So you can be a part of this group without ever having to ring a bell. Okay, wade in the water.
We're now going to get ready to take up our love offering. So for those who offered to help, really appreciate it. So we're going to take just a couple of minutes here as we, as our combined groups get set up for our next piece to just have a little bit of a Q&A. I know sometimes people that are here are curious about handbells, maybe never been to a handbell concert before, like that. And so if you have any questions while the love offering is being taken up, we have a couple minutes to take any questions. Does anybody have any questions about what we do up here? And if it's specific to Queen City Ringers, I'll let Laura answer it. Yes, question. This is always well, the heaviest bells are up there, so I'll let them answer that. Andy, how heavy is the heaviest bell?
It's a little over 13 pounds.
Little over 13 pounds, the heaviest bell. So the biggest bells are aluminum, so that offsets the weight a little bit, the ones that are largest in size. But those big bronze ones, yeah, heavy.
It's about 9 pounds.
And that one's about 9 pounds, that biggest aluminum bell. So the answer is heavy, and you feel every bit of those pounds after you ring them for like an hour. So yes. Yeah, a bowling ball on a stick, that's good. So yes. That's an interesting question. I think sometimes the director tells them what size bell they're going to play. I think that's often the answer. I mean, sometimes some people just are not interested in playing massive bells. It's just not really their thing. Sometimes it has to do with the clef they're more used to ringing, treble or bass. Some people don't want to learn the four-in-hand stuff or are not able to do that. So there's a lot of different reasons, but a lot of times the director just says, here's where you're going to be, and that's what happens. So, and sometimes we move people around depending on the piece too. So, yeah. Question?
So you can put two bells, the handles are different, but what about the chimes? How do you hold one of them?
Well, you can do it the same way you do bells because the clapper will only move one direction. So you can sort of just, you can do them four-in-hand the same way you would do the bells. So you don't have to four-in-hand chimes as often as you would bells, but you can do the same thing with the chimes. Yeah, same technique and everything. So, yeah. Any other questions? Yes?
I can't help but ask this. These are obviously very specialized instruments.
Yes.
What was the total value of all
Oh my goodness. Let's see. A lot. Let's see. Gosh, I wouldn't even know where to start. I mean, 50, yeah, I mean, we're looking at, for 5 octaves, 50,000 probably. So.
It's actually gone down. It's more like about 25,000 for 5 octaves.
Oh.
Start adding on the bigger bells.
Yes, that's good to know. So that's Jane Patterson, and she knows her stuff, so I trust her. So, any other questions? No, bells don't really fall out of tune. They can get like cracked sometimes. If you're very, very hard on them, they can get cracked. But bells don't really fall out of tune traditionally. They need routine maintenance and things like that. But tuning is not really a thing you need to do. If a bell's out of tune, you've got a significant problem. Yes. So that's not common. But any other questions? Yes, Cheryl. Well, so the bells are made of bronze, and the chimes are made of aluminum. And so one of the main differences, at least the way that I hear it, is that with the bells, you get a lot more sort of like overtones and things like that. And with the aluminum choir chimes, you get a lot more just kind of the fundamental pitch. And so that's kind of the big difference, I would say. The chimes are a nice sort of supplement for the bells. Sometimes you want a melody to stand out or something like that. Also, with the silver melody bells, which you will hear later on in the concert, that's another way. There are lots of different ways to like isolate a melody and have them kind of stand out amongst the traditional bronze bells. You'll hear the silver melody bells on some piece. I can't even remember which one it is. Soundscapes, that's the one it is, yes. So there's sort of different auxiliary things to kind of, help for, melodies to stand out in certain pieces and things like that. So, yeah. Any other questions? Yes? Well, there's a lot of different things. There's a lot of little moving parts in them. There's clapper assemblies and all kinds of tiny little things. And so stuff wears out, especially the pieces that are like rubber and things like that. They'll wear out or they'll dry rot and lots of things like that. So you just have to sort of check and see what parts need to be replaced. And there are places you can send them to have like big things done. But then sometimes if it's just little parts here and there, we can just kind of handles can crack, there's little things like that. But so, you can get kind of big, over-encompassing maintenance things done where somebody just kind of does a little bit of everything. or you can replace little parts as needed. So it depends. There's Jeffers Handbells in South Carolina. They're in the Columbia area. They do a lot of handbell maintenance, and so sometimes they can be taken there. Or there's people all over the country that specialize in different makes of bells and things like that. So it just kind of depends on what you need. So yes.
I'm from Bucks County, Pennsylvania. Both of them were manufactured in Bucks County.
You're exactly right. That's exactly right. So he's from Bucks County, Pennsylvania, and there are two. Right. So there are two major manufacturers of handbells in the United States, and they're like just a few miles apart from each other in Pennsylvania. And there's a long story for how all that happened, but that you can go read. It's pretty interesting, actually. But it's Schulmerich and Malmark are the two main companies, and they're just a few miles apart in Pennsylvania. It's actually pretty interesting. So yes.
So who gets the pleasure of polishing all the bells?
It's usually a group effort, at least with us. Is it everybody? Yeah. Yeah, and I know like with my church bell choir, because I direct my bell choir here at the church, we usually have like a polish party a couple times a year and do like, real deep polishing. But there's also like polishing cloths. You can just give them a quick polish after every rehearsal too. So yeah, we all get to do it. It's a group effort. I can maybe take like one more question. I want to, any other questions? Yes. I mean, I've heard very unexpected music arranged for handbells before. I think if a composer's ambitious enough, you could set pretty much any music to handbells, really, So there's things you'd never imagine would be set to bell music, and then you're like, well, I'm surprised that exists, And so I think bells are a very, very, there's a very diverse set of music for bells, and they're very versatile. So you can do really pretty much anything with them. And interesting techniques, too, which you will see later in the soundscapes piece that QCR is doing. But thank you all so much for your questions, and thank you for your love offering, for your support of these groups being here. It's so wonderful to get to put this on for y'all. And now I'm going to pass it over to Laura, and Laura's going to talk about our next piece.
Okay. It is well with my soul that many or all of you already know. This text was written by Horatio Spafford, and if you don't know the story of his life, it would sound like a really overdrawn soap opera. So many things happened to this poor man, and it's amazing to me that he was at a physical location where an incredible tragedy in his life had occurred, and he came up with the words, "No matter my lot, thou hast taught me to say, it is well. It is well with my soul."
Okay. I absolutely love that arrangement. Just a beautiful, beautiful setting of It Is Well With My Soul. As I mentioned earlier, the Blue Ridge Ringers are currently celebrating their 30th anniversary. And it is very exciting. And one of the things that we decided to do that would be a great idea to celebrate would be to commission a brand new composition in honor of our anniversary. And so we reached out to Karen Buckwalter, who is a very well-known composer of handbell music, to see if she could write us something. And we partially wanted to work with Karen because Karen is wonderful to work with and a great writer. I've commissioned her before for things here at the church. But another reason why we wanted to work with her was because she has a special connection to our group, because she is dear friends with Bob Currier, who was the director of the Blue Ridge Ringers from 2004 to 2019. And we have always done a lot of her compositions due to her connection with the Couriers. And so this was a really wonderful opportunity. And what we told her that we wanted was something that incorporated Blue Ridge Mountain or Appalachian folk tunes. And she kind of went through different possibilities of what to include. And she ended up settling on a little bit of a medley of Shady Grove and Barbara Allen. Shady Grove being a tune that originated in eastern Kentucky, and then Barbara Allen being a tune that actually kind of came to the Appalachians by way of the British Isles. And Karen also weaves some of her original compositional material in it as well, and you get a very interesting sort of mashup of these tunes. And so this is a world premiere, y'all. You're going to get to hear, you get to be a part of a world premiere. Have you ever been a part of a world premiere before? How exciting. This is so great. So we hope that you will enjoy the world premiere of Karen Buckwalter's composition, Appalachian Delight, in honor of the Blue Ridge Ringers' 30th anniversary. So the next piece that you're going to hear is Anna Laura Page's arrangement of the old hymn, The Little Brown Church, or the Church in the Wildwood, or whatever you might call it. It's got a couple of different names, and so I don't know about y'all, this is a song we sang a lot in my church growing up. I think it's one of those classics that we sang it out of the Cokesbury hymnal. I don't know if you can tell when I talk, I'm from the deep south, in case you weren't sure. And we definitely sang this one a lot. However, has anybody ever been to the actual real Little Brown Church? There is a real church that inspired the song, and it's not in the South. It's actually in Nashua, Iowa, believe it or not. And it's open to the public. People do weddings and stuff there all the time. But the writer of the hymn saw the church being built and was inspired to write the song. And then after he wrote the song, the first time that the song was ever sung in public was actually at the dedication service for the actual church. So it's just kind of a neat story, and that you can still go visit the church to this day. So this is a really fun arrangement by Anna Laura Page, and it has a really, really fantastic gospel-inspired piano part that will be played by our own Ed Houck up here. And so we hope that you will enjoy Anna Laura Page's The Little Brown Church.
the liveliness. The next piece, Soundscapes. We had talked earlier about a number of composers that we had lost recently, but we also have some younger composers that are writing really, really fun music for our instrument, and Matthew Compton is one of them. And if you meet Matt, you will be greeted with a very warm smile, and he's just a bundle of energy when you meet him in person. And this music reflects his personality really, really well. And it also includes something that you may not have seen before, order bells. Who would like to go?
Can't believe she lets me do that.
I know. As we went to do this piece, and I told Karen, the first thing she said was, "Can I play water bell?" And usually I cannot get her out of the bass section, so that is something. Okay.
How are you guys doing up here?
Oh, they're still setting up, you know what? We're gonna take this show on the road. We have a few people in our group who are very well known for their jokes. So get ready to run. Bonnie, oh, you're right here. You'll groan really well.
Okay, tell me what you call a cow that's lying down. Okay, so what do you call a cow that's standing on a hill? Lean. So what do you call a cow that's just had a baby? Decaffeinated.
Bass, are you set? Oh no, they're still going.
He's almost there. We're not done.
Almost there? Okay, otherwise we're gonna inflict Robin on everybody. Okay, here we go. Soundscapes. Aren't they fun? Okay, we have reached the time of audience participation. And if you think, oh, come sail away, like as in sticks? Yes, as in sticks. So, we're in a Methodist church, not a Presbyterian church. I was baptized Presbyterian. We are still part of the chosen frozen. And we are afraid to move in church. You wouldn't believe, like when I'm having people put your hands in the air, and they go, I don't think I can do that. So we're gonna practice, okay? Hand in the air, okay? Back down, you do it again. Okay, very good, adding on. We're gonna put our hand in the air, we're gonna go that way, and then this way, and then that way. Look at how good you are. Okay, and then the last part of this is that you get to sing along, right? So if you know the words, those of us that are of that generation, and if not, just hum. So this is an arrangement by Paul McElveen, and he does quite a few of the rock and roll pieces. Couple of years ago, I was actually able to play Bohemian Rhapsody in Virtuoso with the Raleigh Ringers and had a great time with that. So this is another really fun arrangement, and this is the last piece that we're doing as an individual group. So I just, again, thank you so much for letting us share this time with you. It's been an absolute pleasure for us to be here. It's been so much fun. And I think we're ready to go. All right, let's come sail away.
Man, that was great. We are so thankful to have had the Queen City Ringers joining us today for this concert. It's been wonderful to work with them. And, you know, these combined pieces, we learned them on our own, and then today we brought it all together. And so that's, you know, you just never know what's going to happen until we finally get everybody in the same room. But it's really been fantastic. And so just so appreciate Laura and Queen City and all that they've done to help make this possible, and to the Blue Ridge Ringers as well, who I have the pleasure of directing all the time. And so the next combined piece that you're going to hear is What a Wonderful World. This is an arrangement by Sandra Ethan, who is a very prolific composer in the handbell world, and her son Mitchell is now very much an up-and-coming composer of bell music and a wonderfully talented musician in his own right. So the interesting thing about What a Wonderful World is the song was originally written in 1967, but while we think about it now as really just being a standard of the repertoire, when it came out, it kind of just fell under the radar and it wasn't really that popular. And then 21 years later, when the movie Good Morning Vietnam came out, the song had this huge resurgence, and then after all those years, it climbed up the Billboard charts, despite not doing that in 1967. And then at that point, it really did become a household staple and a standard of the repertoire. And this is a really wonderful arrangement by Sandy Ethan, and so we hope you enjoy this setting of What a Wonderful World. Did I talk long enough? QCR? I talk a little bit longer? Okay, listen. Okay, so, well, this is a great time to mention this then, too. I did say earlier that we are doing our full 30th anniversary concert, the Blue Ridge Ringers, tomorrow at 3 p.m. at Brevard Davidson River Presbyterian Church. And so if you want to really hear our full 30th anniversary concert experience, we encourage you to come back tomorrow then and see us there at Brevard Davidson River Presbyterian Church. So that's just about a half hour from here, not too bad. So we hope to see you there as well. All right. We good now? Awesome. All right. What a Wonderful World. And we leave you with a song, sort of a Go Now in Peace song. This is A Blessing by Michael Hellman. The church that I just mentioned, where we are playing tomorrow, Brevard Davidson River Presbyterian Church, that is Michael Hellman's church. Michael serves as the organist and director of music at that church, and has been there for just a couple of years after moving here from Florida. And Michael is a very, very prolific composer of bells, choir music, and organ music, and all kinds of things. And we were so thankful to have him move to this area because he's a wealth of talent, and also because I can just sort of call him up and say, "Hey, can you come sub at Blue Ridge Ringers rehearsal today?" It's a nice luxury to have. And we have other bell directors and church musicians in this room too that I have often called on to sub, and so it's a wonderful thing to have Michael right here in our backyard. So if you come back tomorrow, you'll get a chance to see Michael, and we always enjoy doing his compositions, especially since he's now close by and gets to often come to our concerts, and he's a big supporter of the group of the Blue Ridge Ringers. So this is our last piece, and once again, thank you all so much for being here, and just what a joy it has been to have both of these groups together. Queen City Ringers, thank you all so much for coming. Laura, thank you for your preparation with them, and to my Blue Ridge Ringers, thank you all so much for being here too. Seriously, it's just been such a joy. So thank you all for coming, and we will leave you with A Blessing by Michael Hellman.
Laura's used to this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you so much for coming.